First of all, I want to take this opportunity to give a shout out to friend of the channel and supporter of the channel, Roger Edner. What I want to do is let you guys know that he does have a podcast that he runs pretty much on a weekly basis. It's called The Week with Roger. And in this week's episode, and it just came out, I believe, this morning, I'll go ahead and link his Twitter handle, and I'll also link the address of where you can find the podcast. You can listen to it, you can download it, whatever. So, what he did in this episode, he discussed the T-Mobile new Un-carrier announcement, and he also addressed the Dish deadline for Dish Wireless. Now, I've covered, both of these things in detail, but again, getting an analyst kind of internal industry voice to kind of discuss it, I feel is very valuable, and there's very few people I respect more than Roger. So let me go ahead and link those in the description and discuss some of the things that he mentioned in the podcast and what I think are very important for us as consumers. So specifically, I want to focus on the Dish 5G network piece with the commercial and consumer launch. Within the podcast, he discusses how they hit the launch date right at the buzzer. They got it on the mark. All right, the network is up and running. The website is up for orders. So what exactly is next for Dish? Well, the next deadline for the network build, which a lot of us primarily, this is what we care about, right? Making sure that we have a new fourth carrier that is competent and is building a full nationwide comprehensive type of network. 1 year from this month, right? So we're literally talking about 2023 summer, June, July ish. Dish has to get to 70% of the US POPs covered. POP stands for points of presence. This is essentially putting them in the nationwide network category. Shouldn't really be an issue. Most people live in the top PEAs, the top markets, across the country. So it's your San Franciscos of the world. It's Miami, New York, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Phoenix, Vegas, Cleveland. You look at the top 50 PEAs, the top 50 markets, and a majority of people live there. Very specifically, if you just look at population dynamics in our country, I'd say, that number probably is above 70%. So it shouldn't be difficult for them to get to that point. Most people live in these areas. The harder deadline, as mentioned by Roger, is going to be getting 70% native coverage within these PEAs. So not just getting some towers in these places, but this is really a question of build out depth. So not putting a Dish native tower every 5 to 10 miles. This is going to be having full comprehensive deep coverage going from site to site, handing off from one Dish tower to another Dish tower, not relying upon roaming agreements with T-Mobile like we just mentioned in our most recent piece on the news, and then also AT&T, which it's good that they have those things. If for some odd reason you should have to leave the native Dish network, you can have that fallback on those two networks who have been building their networks for decades. All right, so this is going to be a much more challenging feat getting that build out depth. You think about suburban areas, you think about rural coverage, that is very challenging, especially rural. It's going to require much more spending. It's a much more capital intensive process. The return of investment is obviously much lower because you have less people to serve and they're less inclined to make a huge impact on your revenue stream. So the specific spectrum requirements still exist. You got to get 600 megahertz, they're N71. You've got to get your 1700, 2100, the AWS, that's going to be, N66 to start, right? And then you've got other, bands that they could build. They have CBRS too, right? To start creating capacity because their network probably isn't going to be as fast as, say, for example, Verizon's with the 5G ultra wideband, AT&T with the 5G plus, and T-Mobile with the 5G UC. Their channels are very wide. They've got a lot of bandwidth on those channels, and they're also aggregating bands, NSA, SA. You could say that the advantage for Dish could be that they're a fully standalone 5G network, while the others are operating LTE legacy networks and NSA 5G, which falls back onto LTE and requires it for proper functionality and just operating. But this is the daunting task for Dish is going to be hitting these spectrum requirements with depth in these markets and that is 100% tied to their capital investment. Huge cash infusions are going to be needed. They're going to have to start acquiring and getting customers, paying customers, right? So, and that could be the hardest part. How do you tell customers, all right, we know you have T-Mobile, we know you have AT&T and Verizon. How do I get you onto my network? How do I get you to become my paying customer, right? And that acquisition, acquiring those customers is going to be difficult. And then even if you get them to try the service, how do you keep them? What's going to keep them there? Maybe some people are willing to try it. And then what differentiates or distinguishes your service from the rest of, the other competitors? So this is not going to be easy. All right. They've got a $30 per month per line price point for their regular cellular service for mobile handsets for phones. They've got a hotspot plan that they sell at $20 per month, which is extremely attractive. They're selling phones. They've got the Samsung Galaxy S22 for $400. I think it's $399. The Moto flagship is $899. They're going to have to get some entry level phones, and they're going to have to get some budget minded phones, some mid rangers that they could sell to people that give them the full, network experience, all the bands, the voice over NR, that full standalone 5G process. I think they're selling the Nighthawk for like $349 and at 20 bucks a month for the service. That's a great deal. Uh, and all this truly unlimited. They're not restricting any access. They're locking in your price for life if you get this service while it's in beta. And it's like, Project Genesis before it's Boost Infinite or whatever, however you want to look at it, Dish Wireless. But I think Roger did a great job of highlighting not only those deadlines, but also the task at hand that makes it very challenging. So this video really a two-part thing. Propping up Roger because he's offering this great insight on his podcast, and then also kind of, where they stand today and what they've got in front of them. I think it's important for us to start looking at these things. And I am optimistic. I am hopeful that they will do their best and they will do a nice job of offering a compelling product and service to people as they're replacing Sprint. There's only one way to go, and that's up compared to Sprint and what they were. All right, so thoughts and opinions, welcome down below. You are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard. Tell me if you think they're going to get there. What do you think about these up and coming deadlines and tasks? You think they'll get there and make it? Love to hear what you guys have to say on this. And also check out Roger and his podcast. Links in the description. Also linked in the description, my Patreon page. Support us and get early access to videos and exclusive content not found anywhere else. My Twitter handle is there, as well as Roger's. I'll put his. And then go ahead and subscribe for more and turn on the bell notifications icon so you never miss an upload. See y'all on the next one. Peace.